Okay, so now the next topic is in manage menu. There will be a three more menu is there. That one menu is project parameters. Next, shared parameters. And global parameters. Okay, so you can see in manage menu there will be three types of parameters is there. So already I told you parameters is nothing but it's a properties of the component, because the properties, whatever the components we are going to make it model, that model all the component properties we have to give it information. So that information and that properties which we are giving, that we will call as a parameters. So in BIM, this parameters is very much important, because each and every component we have to give some information, and that information is related to the parameters only. So here these parameters will be having again three types. So one is project parameters, shared parameters, and global parameters. There are three types of parameters we can able to work out while working in a project. Okay, so what is project parameters, what is shared parameters, and what is global parameters, we have to know this one also, because before starting the project we should know what is parameters, because each and every objects, when you are going to make the model, that time each and every component we have to give the parameters. Then only that component is going to be visible and it will be reflect in the model, as in 3D view, 2D view, a sectional view, what type of views you are going to take, all these views it is going to be visible. So that's the reason this all information we have to place into a parameters only. So then only we can able to take the information from that component. So what is parameters? So already I told you in properties toolbar, if you go in properties toolbar in a your model in properties toolbar, you can see beside one toolbar is there, edit type. Have you seen this one? Edit type. In properties toolbar there is one icon is there in top right corner, edit type. Have you seen that one? If you are not seen, just check it right now. This edit type menu is very much important in properties toolbar, because in properties toolbar here also there is a number of option will be there, like parameters. Here the first option will be having a scale, detail level, like that many option is there here in properties toolbar. Am I right? Apart from this option, the menus in properties toolbar, there is one more menu is also there. If you click that edit type toolbar, again in edit type toolbar also you will find some more properties also will be there in that. Okay, so this toolbar, the properties toolbar, it's totally consists with all parameters only, that's all, because this toolbar is only it is originating and it is distributing the information to all the component, whatever the components you are going to place it in a model. Okay, so what is edit type and what is the parameters which is directly visible in properties toolbar, that we have to know it. So now you remember whatever the parameters we are seeing directly in properties toolbar without going edit type toolbar. So these parameters we will call as a instant parameters. Remember this word, instance parameters. Okay, the parameters which we are directly visible in properties toolbar, that properties toolbar, that parameters, that properties information we will call as a instant parameters. Instance, INSTANCE, instant parameters. But here whatever the properties you are seeing in edit type toolbar, when you will click edit type menu, there will be one palette will become, and in that palette also you will find there is a number of properties information will be there. That edit type toolbar also, one of the information we can give it in that edit type, that parameters we will call as a type parameters. Okay, so this properties toolbar only it is consist with parameters. So edit type there is a parameters, in general toolbar, properties toolbar also there is a parameters. So whatever the parameters we are seeing in properties toolbar, that is instant parameters, and the parameters which are going to see in edit type, that is type parameters. So there is a difference, what is instant, what is type. There is a two types of difference parameters is there, because some of the parameters we are going to place instant, some of the parameters we are going to place type also. Okay, so why we have to give parameters in type and why we have to give parameters in instant? Because these two types of parameters, when we are going to update in a model, there will be a huge difference is there. Okay, so what type of difference will be there, you have to know it today. So now you just remember, there is a one column, concrete column. Okay, this is a column, and this is the hatching pattern I have given for the column. Now this is the column width I have mentioning here, and this is the length. Yes, sorry, you just tell here length into width. This is length, this is width, and the height is the column length, the vertical height that we will call as a height of the column. So the column is length, width and height. Okay, so here I am giving the length of the column is somewhat some 600 mm, and the width I am giving some 450 mm. Okay, now this is the information I have given. The height I will give the floor height, how much your floor will be there, the column also will be go up to that floor. Am I right? Like that, here for the mechanical people, if there is a big pipe is there, okay, and here the pipe length I am giving some around, the length I am giving some 1800 mm, and the diameter of the pipe I am giving some 100 diameter. Okay, so this is the information. As per that information I have taken the component. So this information should be visible in properties toolbar, because when you will click that columns, so that column, the width, length, height, whatever it will be there, that everything should be visible in properties toolbar. Am I right? Here the pipe also same. If you click that pipe after making the model, if you click that pipe, the pipe, when you will click, automatically the properties toolbar should be reflect their size, the width, the length, whatever it will, the diameter, everything, the pipe, all information should be visible. Am I right? So some information may be visible directly in properties toolbar, some information may be visible in edit type toolbar also. Edit type in properties toolbar itself only. Okay, so some parameters you may be find directly here, some parameters you may be find edit type also. Here in column also the same, because like that all components will be the same reflecting factor as in parameters in properties toolbar. Edit type or else directly in properties toolbar. Okay, so here the difference why I am telling here, because this example I just shown here. Okay, now the difference is that whatever the parameters we are going to change individually, that parameters we will call as a instant parameters. Okay, just example. Now your column width is 600 and your column length is length is 600, width is 450. Okay, same column again you have placed somewhere, same column. Okay, in somewhere your model you have placed the same column, and again here also the 600 is the length and 450 is the width. Now what happened? This parameters, the length, width is directly, it is visible in properties toolbar, because if you click the column, so the length, width, everything will be visible directly if it is in properties toolbar. Then whatever the values you are going to change in directly in properties toolbar, so that time what will happen, the sizes of the column automatically it is going to be changed, and that changes will be reflect only the selected components only. Okay, got it? I will tell you once again. Because something, if you want to change the component, that component individually affecting, when it is going to affect, that type of parameters we will call as the instant parameters. Once again I tell you, because right now there are two columns, am I right? Now same column, same size, everything will be same. Now this column 600 I want to change into 500. This 600 I want to change into 500 because the length now I am going to change. Because initially I place one column, here the length is 500, same 600 column I place here, the same 600 column again I am going to place somewhere other area, and there also I kept 600, but as per the design right now that column has to be changed with 500 because 600 size is the bigger size, it is not required as per the design. Got it? So now I have to change the column length. So now initially what happened here, whatever the values, the length width values which we have given here, that length width values is directly affecting, and it is going to change properties toolbar. Okay, so if you change directly in properties toolbar here, so that time what will happen, only particular entities is only it is going to be changed, the remaining it is not going to be changed. But in edit type what will happen, if your parameters, the length width height, if it is there in edit type menu, if you change any value in edit type, if the length is changed from 600 to 500, so that time what will happen, wherever you have placed the column with the same size, all area it is going to be affecting. It is going to be affected all area. Okay, the simple language I will tell you, if any parameters, if you are going to change any one of the component, if that component has been placed many places, remember, if any component which you have placed multiple areas, and in that same component, same name, if you want to change something like sizes or some information, if you are changing anything in edit type parameters, type tool palette, then what will happen, it is going to be changed whole area wherever you have placed the component. So type parameters is such a way that if you want to change something entirely all the area, that time that parameters you have to keep in type. If you want to change the entity only individually, each and every entity if you want to change individually, that time you have to give the parameters in instant. So instant is nothing but individual changing parameters. Individual or unique. Individually changing parameters, that is instant. And type is all area changing parameters, because you are going to affect all area, then you have to go type parameters. If you are going to change only particular component, each component, then you have to give the parameters instant. So whatever the parameters directly you are seeing in properties, these all are instant parameters. If you change anything, only that particular entity is going to be changed, but other area it's not going to be changed. If the component is same also, it's not going to be affected. But in type, if you change anything, any information, that will be affecting whole area. Wherever you have kept the same component, it will be affected. If the component is changed, that is not affecting. Okay, so all area changing parameters, all area. Because wherever in a project, wherever you will kept that all area, it is going to be affect these parameters. So Here instant parameters, type parameters. There are two types of parameters we will utilize in project parameters, share parameters, as well as in global parameters also. Okay, so there are three types of parameters, but in three types also there is a subtypes: instant parameters, type parameters, because the information where you are keeping, it is in keeping directly in properties toolbar or it is keeping in edit type toolbar. Okay, so that way these parameters we are going to be affecting in the project. So you may get some idea what is instant, what is type, because the instant is individual changing. Each and every component we can change individually. That type of parameters we will call as the instant parameters. If you want to change whole entity at a time in the project, so that time you have to change the type parameters. So there is big changes will be there here. Okay, so in parameters also there will be a different types also will be available, and different properties also will be available here. Okay, so here when you will go for the parameters type, there is a parameters name. You have to give the parameters name. This is one factor. Then discipline, which discipline you are working, whether you are working architecture, whether you are working structure, or whether you are working MEP, mechanical, electrical. So which discipline you are working, that discipline you have to select here. Or the next is parameters type. You have to give the parameters type, which type of parameters you are selecting, that you have to give. And then group parameters, which group your parameters has been selecting. So there are four type of process we can able to work out here for the parameters. So first you have to give the parameters name, then discipline, which discipline you are working, and then parameters type, and then group parameters. Okay, so now just I will show you just by sharing the screen. You just check it, so you will get some of the idea on that. Okay, just a minute. I'm sharing the screen. You just check it. You will get some idea on that. Okay. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. Fine. So now you can see, if I selecting the grid here, if I am selecting the grid, some parameters you can see here in properties toolbar, it is there. If you go edit type, here also some of the parameters you can able to say. Okay. So whatever the parameters you are seeing in edit type, this is type parameters. Whatever the parameters you will see in properties toolbar, this is instant parameters. So this is the instant parameters. Here this is the type parameters. There are two types of parameters. Okay, so now if you change something here, now you can see this is the A grid, and now this A grid I am changing something here. Okay, before here the scope box is none. If I put something here, it will be affecting. Here the type is something, here you can see the type is by type, but I am changing this grid as a yes. Now you can see this parameter, if you select this grid, here the parameter is updated, and it is updated only for this component, this grid. But if I select another grid, now you can see there is no S here, because that S I have kept for this grid only. Am I right? This export to IFC, yes, I kept this information here, but this parameter, this grid I have not kept, so this is not changed. So wherever you will change by selecting each and every component here in properties toolbar, so that affecting, that changes will be affect only the particular entity which you have selected. But here if you see, if I selecting again this grid, and again I am going here in edit type, if I change something here, now you can see the end segment weight, this is right now it is 1, but if I changing into 2, if I change into 2 value and just go with OK here, now you can see this grid already it is 2, and if you select this one also, again if you go edit type, you can see the 2 is there. So difference because in edit type, if you edit something one entity, it is going to be reflect whole entity. But in instant, if you do something, it will be affecting only that entity only. So instant is nothing but individual changing the property, unique, it is individual changing. But if you go with edit type, it is entirely it is going to change. Now you can see if you select this grid also, in edit type how we have kept 2, so it is 2. But if you go instant, it is not there. Yes, it is not there. But if you click first grid, it is there, because we have changed for this grid. So instantly it is updating, but in edit type it is updating the entire area. So this is the information which we can give by using this instant or type. So that we have to decide, because some parameters which we required entire change at a time, that time you have to go edit type parameters. If you want to change some parameters only individually, only particular entities, then you have to go instant parameters. So these are the difference between the instant and type. Okay, now you can see here, if I selecting this grid again, now you can see there is a extend. Am I right? Extend, and here IFC parameters. So these are the heading of the parameters. So this heading we will call as a group parameters. Group. Okay. And whatever the name you are finding here, this is scope box, name, export to IFC, GUID. These are the name of the parameters. So just now I written here parameters name, discipline, parameters type, and group parameters. So group parameter is nothing but this one. If you go edit type also, you will find there is a group parameter. You can see this graphic is coming as a group parameters, because graphic is the folder. You just imagine that this is a folder. In that folder there is a number of files like the symbol, center segment. These are the files inside the folder. So the folder is the group parameters. This is a group. This is big parameters. And here IFC also parameters also big. This is the group parameters. So inside the group, if you see export to types to IFC, this one, this is the name which you are finding here. These are the parameters name. In the instant also the same, in type also the same. This is the name. So parameters name this one, and this is the group. So discipline means if you work with architecture, so you have to select architecture discipline. If you are working in structure, you have to select the visual, because the parameters is related to your component only. Because you are working in electrical, so you have to give the electrical parameters. If you are working civil, so you have to give civil parameters, like that. But here this visualization should be understood, because this graphic, this blue color is highlighting. This is a group parameters. You can create the group parameters also. You can create the project parameters also, like that. In name of the parameters, everything you can able to create here. Okay, just got some idea. So now you can see here each and every component we can able to work out with the groups. We can able to work out with the parameters name, discipline wise, and project type wise, parameters type wise. Means type is nothing but category, which type of category you are going to work out for the parameters. So like that, it will be affecting whole area of your projects wherever you are going to be making the parameters updation. Okay, so now you just remember in such a way that there are 3 types of parameters we can able to work. One is project parameters, another is shared parameters, next one is global parameters. There are 3 types of parameters. You can see here in manage menu, there will be 3 types of parameters you can able to see. Now this icon is indicating project parameters. This icon is indicating shared parameters. And this icon is indicating global parameters. So there are 3 types of parameters we can able to do it. So now you have to remember what is shared parameters, what is global parameters, and what is project parameters. Okay, so the difference you have to remember here. Now see the board. Able to see my board? Yes guys. Okay, fine. So now you can see project parameters means while working in a project, when we are going to update a new parameters, new information, so that time you have to go with project parameters only. So project parameters is we have to update parameters while working in a project. We have to update parameters while working in project. When you are going to working in a project, we have to update the parameters. That parameters we will call as a project parameters. And that parameters is unique for your project only. If you close that project, that parameters will be never come in another project. Okay, project parameter is nothing but it is a unique for that project only. If you are working some hotel project and in that hotel project you have given some new parameters, new information in that file. So if you close that file and if you open one more file, again you have to give the parameters, because the project parameters is temporary for the present project. So that parameters, when you are going to update it, that we will call as a project parameters, and it is only while working in a project, then only you have to update it. So that is project parameters. But here the share parameters is different, because the share parameters is very much important in a project, because when you are going to share the parameters with different projects, that time you have to share the information by using share parameters, because everything the process is same, but share parameters is useful for sharing the parameters. Here the description is to share the parameters, with other project, or to update in other system. Okay, share parameter is nothing but to share the information with other project, it is possible, or to update in other system is also possible, but project parameter is not possible, because project parameters only for particular project only, but share parameters we can share multiple projects. Okay, just example, just I'm telling, now you have created some object, and that object you are going to present it in a project, and that project is going to be give the presentation for the design. So in that project, if you have created many parameters in project parameters, and the project presentation has completed and you have closed the project, now one more project is going to be start, and in that project also whatever the parameters earlier previous project which you have given, the same parameters again it is going to be updated in a new project. So that time what will happen, again you have to update the new parameters for the component. It will be take some time to update it, maybe something miss also. Okay, that will be happen when you will update it in project parameters. But come to the share parameters, what will happen, if you are creating something the parameters for that project, it is already utilized that project, the present project which you have worked, has been utilized. But after closing that project, if you are opening a new project also, so the share parameters what we have created for the previous project, it is going to be shared automatically. Again it will become for the new project. So how many times you are going to create new things, it will be going to be updated the same. Because in share parameters we can take the parameters separately with a text file. It's going to be write a text file. It will become a text file. We can take the report. The share parameters, we can take the report from the parameters. Okay, so the example I will tell you in practical, because project parameters is totally different compared to the share parameters, because Both are same, but it is not sharing. But here this is sharing to another computer. It is sharing to another work. Just example I am telling. Now in a company you went. Okay. Now company people has assigned a computer for you, and in that computer you have work PC. You have worked some 1 month or 2 months, and in that same PC, one project you have completed, and in that projects you have updated many parameters. That parameters, all parameters, when you have updated, that is in project parameters only. And suddenly what happened? Your PC has changed, your computer has changed, and you have sit with the other computer. So what happened? Whatever the parameters you have updated there, the same parameters again another computer it will be not come. But again, if previously if you did some parameters which you have created in shared parameters, if you set that system, again if it is changed to other system also, the same that parameters in the text file as a notepad file, it is going to be recorded. It will going to take the report, and the same report again you can update it for the another computer also. You can take it directly. So no need to create once again, no need to create 2 to 3 times again. Okay, so only individual time it is going to be created. Okay, so individually when you are going to create individual parameters, that we will call as a project parameters, but when you are going to share the parameters, that we will call as the shared parameters. And here the global parameters, that is also totally different, because the global parameters, what will happen? Globally we can update the parameters all with the shared parameters along with the project parameters. It is going to be updated globally with the help of formula. Here we can update some of the formula also in global parameters. So what will happen? Some of the parameters, if you give some values, automatically the other components also it is going to be updated automatically. Just example, here if you kept this length L is equal to 18, okay, 1800. If you keep this length in global parameters, okay, if you keep this length in global parameters, your pipe is up to 1800. But in future, if you have increased the pipe length, so what will happen? This value is also going to be increased, because your pipe is increasing the length, means here the value is also going to be increased. So what will happen? If you are keep this parameters into a global, so if you are changing the length, if you are increasing the length of the pipe, so automatically in global also it is going to be updated the same value automatically if you change it. If you are not changing, it will be kept as it is only. But simultaneously in global parameters, if you are going to put some formula here, if you keep some formula here, if you change the length, 1800, okay, plus some 200 increase, so it will become 22,000. So if 200, how it is going to be increased? If you are going to add some 200 value, and if you are going to increase it here, because 1800 plus 200, if you are given formula, so automatically what happen? This pipe automatically it is going to be changed. Manually changing is not required. Just you enter the value in global parameters, because previously this pipe length is 1800. Now I want to increase with 200. So now this length should become 2000 mm. So if you give the value in global parameters, automatically this pipe is also going to be changed. That will be global parameter, because you just give the value, that's all. Your model is automatically, it is reflecting, it is changing. So that value you have to keep in formula. Means 1800 plus 200 you have to give separately. So if you give 200 in global parameters palette, so automatically wherever this pipe is there 1800, all the pipe is going to be changed into 2000 at a time. So manually going and changing is not required. So this is global parameter, is somewhat automation we can say, because without changing the pipe physically with the help of hands, if you are going to put some value in the global parameters, it is going to be changed automatically. Automation will be there. So that type of parameters we will call as a global parameters. So global parameters is totally related to share parameters and project parameters, because global parameters, whatever the parameters you have given for the shared and project parameters, the same thing is going to be updated for the global. Global is not required a new parameter. If you want to create a new also, it is going to be updated for the same. So newly also we can able to create, existing also we can able to create. So here the project parameters, you have to create new parameters for the project. Always you have to create new parameters for the project, because whatever the information you required in the project, maybe some of the information you need from external, from outside also, some information about the component. So that time you have to go with the creation of the project. Okay, so actually these parameters will be having two types of parameters. This we will call as a working parameters. Okay, working parameters will having two types. One is project working parameters, and another is family creation parameters, because these parameters will be utilizing for family creation also, because when you are going to create a new family, that time also this parameters is required. So in working parameters also we are having a two types. One is project working parameters and another is family working parameters. Yeah, family creation parameters also we can say. So in that parameters, again in family and project, we have project parameters, shared parameters and global parameters. So every information, every properties we can say by using instant, or we can update with the type also. So instant and type, just you remember these two words. But while creating the new parameters, you have to go with the parameters name, discipline, parameters type and group parameters. Like that you have to work out. Okay, so I think somewhat you got idea about that, just you remember, but while doing practical you maybe get some clarification on that more. Okay, so just as a verbal you just remember, instant parameters is nothing but it's a individual changing information of each and every component. But if you want to change the entity as a bulk, means more entities at a time, that time you have to go with the type parameters. You have to go with the type parameters. So type parameters is going to be updated more entities, but instant is going to update it only single entity, each entity, individual entity. Okay, so like that it will be there. So in that parameters also we have to go with the project parameters, share parameters and global parameters. Okay.